Hello and welcome to Radio Free Nintendo. It is July 16th, 2026, and this is episode 984. I am James Jones, joined today by Mr. Guillaume Vayette.
Hello.
Mr. Greg Leahy.
Ahoy, ahoy, everyone.
Mr. John Linneman.
Great to be here, James.
And just before we started recording, when I say just before, I mean, as I was doing my test recording, I yelled into the microphone, "Oh my God!" So I'm going to tell these gentlemen why I yelled that into the microphone. I just got an alert on my phone from Nintendo Music as of 10 minutes ago. Quote, "We added 229 tracks from Donkey Kong Bonanza to Nintendo Switch 2 system." What?
That is a thing that Nintendo can do.
Holy shit, they really did! There's 229 tracks that take, if you just listen to what it calls, quote, top tracks, that's 140, and it takes 5.5 hours.
Okay,
5.5 hours of music. It's
but
awesome.
is this like the soundtrack to Golf on the NES, where it's just like
Maybe?
I hope so. I hope each sound in the game has its own little track.
Some of them are like 30 seconds long.
Okay.
But it's not just like sound effects. Like this is music. Most of them are like there are jingles here and there are songs.
Right.
But I don't see just like sound effect. Although everybody just got to hear a little bit of Encounter with Strange Object 2. Yeah, there's so much fucking. Why did they add everything at one time? What was the point? This is ridiculous. Also, it is full of spoilers. So if you haven't played this game and might want to do it, just don't, because the images they have chosen are full of spoilers. They have added a bunch of different playlists, including the Extended Playback Collection, which includes the title theme on loop, Ingot Island on loop, Ingot Island Outside the Tunnel on loop, Ingot Island Cave-In on loop, Ingot Island Cave-In Battle on loop, things that aren't Ingot Island also on loop. There's a song just called Sinkhole, and I feel like that's my life. Anyway. John, you're going to read something for us to start the show off. I'd appreciate it if you could fire that up.
Sure. GX writes, Dear RFN crew, if the original sin of Pokemon was gotta catch 'em all, then the original sin of Sonic is gotta go fast. I have beat every bit of this game's content with every character in every way, unlocked everything, and on multiple platforms. I've played it with mods and have modded it myself. Bluntly, I think this game is the best Sonic game, and I enjoy it a lot. But I do want to massage the experience for those going into it. 2D Sonic is not about going fast. One can go fast, much like a speedrunner can memorize every button press to make in a stage, and when, but nobody's early playthrough should be that. Approach 2D Sonic as you would a skateboarding game. It's a game series about maintaining the correct speed for the circumstance because Sonic is functionally a sphere with agency. He's a pinball you can manipulate, or as Naoto Oshima put it, iconic ball action. Making a jump requires knowing how much
That's
momentum
what they called me in high school.
to build before you take it. Learning Sonic is learning to appreciate diagonals and curves in level design, and using them to achieve your ends. Even the chaos of bumpers can be used productively if you land on them just right. Character choice matters in how you approach the game. I've listed them subjectively from easy to difficult. Mighty is mostly immune from spikes, and is good if you kinda want to play like Sonic but with less damage. Tails can just fly anywhere for a limited time. If you don't want to engage with certain parts of the level, or if you want to really explore, he's perfect for that. Ray plays like Cape Mario. He's the only character who can both fly and leave flight in an attack roll to land on an enemy. Sonic has easiest access to speed. He's also the only character that can use elemental shield moves. Knuckles is boring Ray. He can't jump as high as everyone else, and his glide is kinda slow, but you can glide headfirst into enemies and bosses to do damage if you're having trouble lining things up. He also has an exclusive level in the desert stage. Sonic Mania is in equal parts reverence and subversion. It plays on existing familiarity with Sonic level designs, and twists them into new shapes and new gimmicks, drawing inspiration from unlikely places. The game draws from longtime fan developers, animators, and composers, brought into the fold by the community and brand manager that you best know for making the 2010 Sonic Twitter really weird. It was made as a companion piece to much bigger but far less well-received Sonic Forces released later that year, with the Phantom Ruby serving as the connection between the two. Yet Mania's reputation has long outlived and outclassed this context. Otherwise, I hope you find enjoyment. Explore the levels, sample different characters, try to go where the game doesn't naturally want you to go. The sprawling stages are dense with weird branching paths and small things to find. And if you've found you've had a good time, look up a little fan project called Sonic Triple Trouble 16-Bit. Different developer, unofficial, but similar spirit. Peace.
So, for those of you who have missed the episode or don't remember, we announced our next retroactive, which is Sonic Mania. We're going to do it in a few weeks from now, so not next week or the week after. Probably not the week after that. Probably the subsequent week, because there's going to be some outages coming up for the next few weeks, so that'll help us kind of bridge that gap. GX is the expert. I at one point I haven't told him this, was toying with inviting him to come on and talk about the game with us. He might have just done it. But I'll ask him if he's interested, but I want to hammer out dates too, because he is the official Sonic expert of the Nintendo World Report Discord. I thought this was a really good primer for people who don't inherently have a lot of experience with the Sonic franchise, which I'm going to guess is not insignificant percentage of our audience. Very likely doesn't have a lot of 2D Sonic experience, and so this could be new ground for them to tread. So getting a little bit of a heads up before going in, so people have that to sort of use to guide how they play the game a little bit. There is the other retroactive. The 999 retroactive for episode 999. If you read the Nintendo World Report article, companion piece, addendum, emotional baggage in text form that I write every week to go with this show, you already know where this conversation is going. But if you don't, 999 never came out for Switch, or as the remake was called, the Nonary game. I can't remember what the full title of it was. Zero Escape, the Nonary game. Because they Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, is a retroactively created sequel to a game that never planned to have a sequel. Like 999 has a very there is no sequel ending. But they gave it one so they could make the game have a sequel after it was kind of a success, sort of. And so they rebranded it in the remake that they released. So they were both called under the Zero Escape, quote, series. The Nonary game is the 999 of which the original title speaks. That remake never made it to Switch because it came out around the same time as Switch. And so as a consequence, Switch was still an unknown quantity, and so that game does not have a long history of actual success. It has a history of critical success, and as a consequence, they weren't going to take a risk on a platform that didn't have series of success to go with it. They were busy putting this game on the fucking Vita. But they never went back and put it on Switch, and so there is no Switch version. Ha! In fact, there's also no Switch version of the other two games in the Zero Escape franchise. They do not exist. The last time a Zero Escape game was released on Nintendo consoles, it was 3DS. It was the third game in the series. So, given that, the ways to play this game are fairly limited at this point. You can play them on Xbox, you can play them on PS4. I would assume you can also play it on PS5 as a consequence. You can play it on PC. Generally speaking, we've done it before, but generally speaking, we like for the game to be presently available, or at least relatively so. We could tell you to go find DS copies, but one, I don't remember if the game even came out in Europe, and two, they're very expensive. So, we're not going to do that. Well, we're going to go ahead and, even though the 999 retroactive has tremendous, boy, the synergies here are, the branding synergies are unmatched. We're gonna hold off on that one. So go ahead and like set that aside. If you've already somehow managed to get a hold of it to play it, honestly, it's still worth playing. It's really good, but ultimately, I just don't think it's something that we can easily ask our audience to be able to play and play along with us and expect to get a lot of good responses, just because it's not as easy to play as I thought it was. My mistake. I should confirm things when we just go shoot off from the hip like that. But it happens. So, Sonic Mania, coming in a few weeks. You can use GX's email we just read to kind of get some context on it. 999 not happening. And I talked about it. The episode 1000 charity event thing sounds like it's going to be on. I can't give you a date yet because it's a function of other episodes happening. And we might miss some somewhere along the way. So we'll figure that out. I think right now, if you do the math, though, you're looking at September, October. So somewhere in there, we got some time. We got a little bit of time. Not a ton of time, so I have to actually start planning this shit, but at least a little bit of time. So we will give you some updates as that stuff gets closer. But remember, in about 3 to 4 weeks, we will do the retroactive on Sonic Mania. So get your hands on it. We did just miss a sale, as I joked about last week. I thought you could buy it off Walmart digitally on sale, and I did. And then the order sat for 4 days, and then their bot auto canceled it, refunded me, and increased the price to normal price. That was cool. I enjoyed that very much. So unfortunately, it is $20, but hey, you might be able to find options somewhere else. Or you might be able to find there are physical copies. You might be able to find a used one. I don't know.
Right.
But
well, I got it at the library personally.
No, fair enough. But please go and play it and send your comments in the Discord. You can email them to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. That's rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. We're going to try to do a shorter episode this week, so we're going to go ahead and read some of these. I did want to ask you guys, though, have we ever named an episode Iconic Ball Action? I feel like we would have named an episode Iconic Ball Action.
I don't think it's come up, no, actually.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean,
we have now.
We've probably something around Iggy's Wrecking Balls around there. I think there's one out there.
I don't know if we would have talked about N64 Classic Iggy's Wrecking Balls.
Well, it's on Switch. You could play it now.
Oh, God, you're right.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I played it when it came out or shortly after.
That's right.
And then I wondered why did I do that?
Yeah,
we had a conversation about is it Iggy's balls that are capable of wrecking, or is it Iggy is out wrecking balls?
Iggy is a ball.
So Iggy is out. Is he out wrecking other balls though? Is that what it is?
I pushed it out of my mind, James. I don't remember.
Well, I need you to go back and do the research. This is important. Because it's Iggy apostrophe S. That could either be possessive, he owns wrecking balls, or it's Iggy is wrecking balls. And that's important science to be solved.
It's all kind of moot, because it's definitely not Iconic Ball Action. So I don't think we would have called an episode that.
So it's Iconic Ball Wrecking.
He has you there, James.
Please. Does he, John?
He does.
or does fate have all of us?
Yeah.
Is that what this is? All right. So I'm going to read the first email. Bruce Wayne writes, if you put it in an email, I'm going to read it. Bruce Wayne writes, back in the early days of this podcast, we had the Wii report card. I propose bringing that back, but with a twist. You see, we aren't going to use a normal grading scale and grade Nintendo on things like, quote, online. Instead, our friends at Xbox came up with 10 interesting points for us to grade Nintendo on. The 10 points are as follows. Should I read them out and then we grade them at 101, or do you want me to read the full list?
Let's read the full list first.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, read the full list.
Really highlights how stupid this is.
Earn every player. Protect our art. I want to point out these come from Microsoft. Stay rebellious.
I would number them. We're at
That
3.
is-
Okay,
Stay
fine.
rebellious.
What
I will. they're not numbered in the list, but I will number them here. Microsoft didn't feel like they should be numbered. Numbering things is not rebellious, Guillaume.
I see.
Number 1, earn every player. Number 2, protect our art. Number 3, stay rebellious. Number 4, progress over perfection. Number 5, signal over ceremony. Number 6, core before more. Number 7, this is the one where I stopped reading them to this crew before we did the show because this one I need to hear people react to it. Outwork the problem. Number 8, speed is learning. Number 9, makers over managers. And number 10, clarity is kindness. What? So this is... Oh, excuse me. Does Nintendo come out of this with flying colors, or will they have to sit on the sidelines while Matt Booty gives a speech at graduation that was probably written by Copilot? Keep up the snow and what may be the Xbox fridge to keep us cool in the summer heat. I want to give an update since we're here on the Target supply situation vis-a-vis Xbox.
Yeah?
They are redoing the technology section of my Target again, even though they just remodeled it 10 months ago, which is weird. They have moved Nintendo stuff, and they have moved Microsoft stuff. The Microsoft section, such as it is a single rack with the only thing that's actually Microsoft on it being some controllers. In the discount section, and I sent John a picture of this, there are 2 life-size Master Chief skulls that light up. They are 30% off. They are massive. I've never seen them before. I do not know where they came from. It's like they showed up at the store and instantly went to the on-sale bin. It's very odd. The fridges are gone. They were there a couple weeks ago. The Xbox is gone. It was also there a couple weeks ago. I don't know what's going on. I doubt they sold them. So where did they go?
And certainly nobody stole them because who would actually want to steal them?
No. So where did these fucking Master Chief helmets come from? They're huge. John, I sent you the picture. What would you say? They're like 2 feet across?
They're big. I mean, they're as big as my cat helmet one, for sure.
Oh, these are human-size helmets.
Wild.
Like, those boxes were enormous.
They were, yeah.
They were almost 2 feet cubes.
Yep.
So they're for really big cats then?
Yes.
Really,
they're
yes.
for lynxes and above.
Yes.
Nice.
You tell you what, Guillaume, you try to put a Master Chief helmet on a lynx. Tell me how it goes. I am... all right. So, Matt Booty is apparently sending Master Chief helmets to Target locations near you in exchange for Xbox or fridges. All right, let's go through this dumbass list that was clearly written by either Copilot, a list of management buzzword books, or both.
I need to know, are these points from Asha or from before?
They're from this is from the Asha email, right, John?
Yeah, this one came from, I think this one specifically was from Asha Sharma and Matt Booty. Like,
wow.
Yeah, this was early in her tenure.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was when she was starting.
Yeah, this is like the manifesto email.
So there's really, like, odds are greater than not that that it is from Copilot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, in her defense in this part, she was transferred to a completely different division of the company and told, "You're in charge. Also, it's on fire." Like, she doesn't know. This wasn't even an industry she worked in before. So it's like, yeah, she probably did go, Copilot, I run the world's largest video game publisher and everything's on fire. What do I do?
Yeah, she was handed a flaming bag of crap, basically.
Yeah.
And she stepped on it with aplomb.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kinda. But, like, this is one of those, there was an interesting thread on this where it was like, who do you blame for the layoffs? And I was really confused that she was ranking so highly, because, like, no. She was brought in to do them. she was brought in to be the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Because the people who created the situation by buying all these companies and not knowing how to use them and how to make them marketable, profitable, strong business components, to integrate them into the organization, to make good decisions with company money, they're all gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't do these vastly unpopular things before leaving. They left, so they left in part, so they didn't have to do these.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she got handed. I would argue maybe more than flaming bag of crap, but yeah. I was referring to it in our Discord as a grenade with the pin already pulled.
Yeah, like I have to think
this is your problem.
I was thinking about this the other day, and there has to be a mandate where they're saying like, okay, you have to right the ship by like maybe let's say 2030, or else we're just going to completely sell this for parts. Like there has to be something. Like this isn't going to go on forever. Either way,
I would guess 2028.
Yeah, like I think I'm being generous by saying 2030 there.
Yeah, and it's a bad situation there. Mm-hmm. And what I will tell you, having been on the receiving end of bullshit management speak like this, it doesn't help, because a lot of these phrases don't mean anything. Like, they think they mean something. This is the trick of management books. Write a book that sounds like it means something. My all-time favorite for this, and I've referenced it on the show before, is a book that came out in the 90s called Who Moved My Cheese? And it was really fucking popular. It made all the fucking rounds, and it was basically about being able to handle change. This is worse than Who Moved My Cheese, which I have read because I thought it was funny. Earn every player. What? This is one of the great things about management speak, is that it doesn't have to mean fucking anything. It doesn't have to fucking mean anything. You can make it mean whatever you want. But when they say earn every player, what I think they're saying here, like how I read this, is like that you don't take your audience for granted. You put out things that are going to interest them. You make sure that news of the things you're making for them reaches where they are. Like, you could put out infinite good games, and if they don't know the game exists, you didn't earn that player.
Right.
Now, what is Microsoft doing there? Fuck, I don't even know. But we're not talking about Microsoft, we're talking about Nintendo. And I think the answer here. All right, let's talk about what Nintendo's been doing to earn every player. Like, Pokopia definitely earned them a lot of goddamn players.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a wide open question. It is. The whole topic is so wide open. Like, with Xbox, it's like, as an Xbox employee, I would read that and say, oh, okay, Microsoft, people above me who are paid millions of dollars a year and are supposedly so bloody smart. What have you done to earn every player? Because all you've done is drive players away through your various decisions and all your infinite wisdom. I would say, what has Nintendo done? I mean, first off, they've consistently released good games for years upon decades. Unlike Xbox, who maybe you get a Forza and a Gears game this year, and you should consider yourself lucky. Or here's a Sea of Thieves expansion for those people who care. And then it'll just, good luck getting any real new IPs or anything like that. They've released new IPs, Nintendo. Like, there's all these kinds of things. And I think they also haven't gone overboard with every single industry trend that's out there.
I would argue from the Microsoft perspective that Sea of Thieves is the one who has been trying to earn every player.
Yeah.
Like, they have been consistently adding to that game things that audience asks for almost a decade.
There was people even wanted to be able to partnership with, like, Monkey Island.
Yeah, there was. And, like, people wanted to be able to run their own sessions so they didn't have to worry about people hunting them down when they're just trying to run quests. And they just did it. And it's like, well, that was probably not easy. But they did it. and it's great. And like I appreciate that. I appreciate that they made that effort. I mean, John, we can go through the Nintendo list for the last few months. All right, they put out Star Fox, which is actually Star Fox 64. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Yeah, but that's a banger though. In my opinion, that's a real good game. Regardless of how you feel about it, I think that's a quality game.
It is,
and I would even argue that by Nintendo standards, people consider that a throwaway.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, what I was going to say is they didn't price it super high. It's what is it? It's 40, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They don't. Yeah,
$49.99.
Yeah, it never feels like they're like trying to like screw you over. Even though they have raised prices, but everything's gone up.
They have. Everybody has. Yeah. They could have charged more for that game, and they didn't. They put out the Xenoblade update. They put out Resports Resort comes out in a couple months. It's $50. Splatoon Raiders comes out at $50. Rhythm Heaven Groove just came out. It's $40. It's $40. What the fuck?
Yeah, in this day and age, that's nuts.
Tomodachi Life came out a few months ago, and it was huge, and it was $60, but people really loved it. Yoshi's in the Mysterious Book was $60. It got a demo recently, maybe because it wasn't doing the numbers they wanted it to do.
But the reception is really good.
I would have thought that one could have used with the demo sooner, to be honest. A little bit surprised it didn't.
Was waiting for it, and it never happened.
Yeah, I talked about it plenty, so I don't need to dwell on it, but it's peculiar. It isn't just Crafted World or Woolly World or New Island, where you just pretty much do a riff on Yoshi's Island, but with some aesthetic, twist. It's actually quite an unconventional kind of side-scrolling platformer, so giving someone a slice of that seems like a wise idea. Although I'd say its biggest strength, or certainly one of them, is the variety of different things that that it ends up kind of asking of you in this sort of quest to document things, which I'm not sure if a demo of inevitably modest scope can convey that fully. So it's easier said than done to demo it effectively, but it does seem like something you would want to do. So I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah, like I expected it the whole time, and so I was just waiting for it, and it never happened, and I was like, what the fuck? But I would say if the demo was a response to sales being softer than they expected, that to me constitutes trying to earn every player. That's like, hey, we're going to go after that.
I mean, one of the things I think there's probably, you've got to say one of the most major ways in which I agree with you, James. That'd be if there's a meaningful interpretation. And that's, I wouldn't necessarily say that there is, to be taken from that, it would be not taking your audience for granted, right? So,
right.
One of the key ways I think Nintendo, look, there's probably lots of ways that people would say, Nintendo is taking or has taken their audience for granted, and, that they will pay for, the same thing again and again, and, this, that, and the other, and, your opinions will differ on, how accurate that is. But I think one of the key ways in which they don't take the audience for granted is what they're doing with, the stuff beyond video games that we've talked about, in terms of the theme parks, the movies and all that.
Yeah,
they don't take for granted that people are going to get exposed to these characters through their video games. They are, they've very much got to a place where they sort of realise that, because a lot of people, if people are getting, young kids are getting exposed to video games at all, it may well be through mobile games and stuff, stuff that's not, no one's actually paying for, all this kind of stuff, the kind of pipeline that they had more so over, the years where their entry level hardware, Game Boy Color, even like GBA, DS, like these were very cheap, and a lot of people, if they had any interest in video games, might have had them. And, it was this kind of pipeline of, you get them attached to your characters when they're young, and then they take a certain percentage of them will take it into later life and all that. They realized some time ago that was kind of, going to be radically changed by the rise of mobile and, the fact that even if Nintendo is very much not on the same level as Microsoft when it comes to being, premium, how expensive the hardware is, their hardware has got a lot more expensive over the years. Even the cheapest, especially with the move to Switch, the end of 3DS, the end of a dedicated kind of lower tech, lower cost portable device. And of course now with Switch 2, and especially with Switch 2 having to increase just around a year on the market, that's not how you're going to get, the pipeline of kids getting to love Nintendo. Yeah, there's other ways. Obviously there's all those, Nintendo loving parents that will, get some pass that on to their kids and stuff, but they recognised that they couldn't take that process for granted, and they had to get other points of access to their IP out there for all these generations to come.
I think that's a great perspective that I didn't even think of. The My Mario stuff that they've got, like the blocks for kids that are going to be bought by 30-year-olds because they're amiibo. This is for my child. You don't have any children. The My Mario and My Yoshi apps, which it's just the thing from the N64 Mario opening screen or from the Mario Party games. You fuck with their faces. I downloaded the Mario one. I don't think I ever talked about it on the show. If you play with it for more than like 5 minutes, it goes, "It's time for me to go to sleep," and Mario just goes to sleep, and you can't play with them anymore. You have to close the app. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird. But like. Yeah, that's a great perspective. They're trying to earn every player, not just like there's two ways to read that. It's like every player you got, you earned, or I'm trying to earn everyone. I'm trying to get everybody in here, and I would say their library to start this year off has been strong in that place as well. Like you've got Pokopia, you've got Star Fox, which is a nostalgia play. You've got Rhythm Heaven, which is going to go after a specific audience. Like Rhythm Heaven was huge on the DS. They've got a Wii Sports game coming out. Like they're targeting different audiences. Yes, the fucking Ocarina of Time remake Mark 50 is coming. The world's least necessary game will arrive. Like they are going after different components. We got the Bella Bell Park update. We got the Animal Crossing update. We got the Xenoblade update. We're getting more Xenoblade updates. They are trying to give diversity in their offerings as well, and they're featuring third-party games that give things they don't have. What was that Capcom game? The two Capcom games, the Resident Evil game,
Requiem for Resident Evil, and then Pragmata. Yeah. Where they've got to with the hardware gives them a chance to, get those experiences on there. And I guess, you can look at that as...
And promote the hell out of them.
I get maybe it helps retain interest in a certain kind of player, right? In terms of, someone that they like having Nintendo hardware, to play the Nintendo games. That's always the core of the business model. And, for consumers, that's basically the main reason, going to be the impetus for you buying the thing in the first place. But especially when it is at the level it is now with the price, you would like it to do more. You would like to play more different types of things on it, right? And the fact that it can give you, somewhat, acceptable, shall we say, versions of things like, Resident Evil and Pragmata and so forth, gives you another way of reassuring players that, it will be worth the purchase if you can do these, that you'll be able to play that kind of portably as well as on TV and so forth.
Yeah. So earn every player. I think we all sort of collectively say they're doing well.
Well, I guess it's all relative, isn't it? That's the thing. Compared to the other platform holders, I mean, who's doing more to achieve this? than
I don't
Nintendo.
think anybody's doing more.
Like I said, I'm sure again, already sort of alluded to. There's people would say, they rely so much on the same franchises, and in some cases with Star Fox and Ocarina, like the same installments of the same franchises. That's taking people for granted. It's just their absolute attachment to this thing that came out at a particular time in their life, that it was very important to them, will carry the day. That could be regarded
Nintendo
as
sold us a plastic Virtual Boy shelf this year.
Which no one has any attachment to, presumably, unless it's been hammered into their face like the start of a Mario Bava film.
I'm looking at both Virtual Boys, and for whatever reason, it took me this long to process the connection here. I will say that there is a core before more problem with my second Virtual Boy being a thing, so we might have an issue there. All right, let's roll on. Protect our art. I don't know what this means, John. You have the context for Xbox. What do you think this means?
Protect our art. This is, I just see there, like, this to me is actions speaking much louder than words. I mean, they're protecting their art, but they lay off a huge chunk of their workforce. So it's really not about the art; it's about the money that the art is making.
They're protecting the art, just not the artist.
Right. Well, and I look at it like, I mean, really, it really rings hollow, because a lot of the more artsy studios that they have, like Double Fine, for instance, they get jettisoned, and so they're saying, they're saying, get rid of, keep the art or protect the art only if it's our most popular, most profitable art.
I guess in a way, though, they are protecting the art by letting those companies that are being jettisoned, kind of buy back the rights to their games, or giving them the rights to their games, as opposed to keeping the rights and not doing anything with them. Like, we're letting you loose, and you can take this with you, your ball with you. We're not gonna. We didn't even want to play with it, so you take it home.
Yeah.
I read this given the people that were coming in as their way of saying, like, no, we're not just going to go to AI gen all of our content. Honest.
Yeah. There's a lot of subtext in this thing, like.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how to grade Nintendo on it. Like, I would say you could make it like a protect our brand kind of thing, and like, regardless of the necessity for Star Fox 64, I'm not going to call it Star Fox, to exist, which is nil. Certainly no effort was spared on its creation, despite the fact that it was a relatively budget release. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with the artistic decisions that were made in the process, but it's clear they spent a lot of time thinking about it. How would they want to present that game at this moment in time?
Yeah.
And the choices they made don't necessarily align with what that game was 30 years ago. They recontextualized some of the presentation in order to match the aesthetic they want to pursue now. The Donkey Kong redesign is fairly significant, and we can actually, even though it's new, we can see its evolution because we see what they did in Mario Kart, and then we see where he ended up in his own game, of which we got 240 something songs today. And we can see that a tremendous amount of effort was put into how to present, how to give that thing the look and feel and appearance that really matters to them. And so if you're thinking about it from that perspective, I would say, yeah, they're making an effort. They're doing a lot. But again, this isn't the question. This is a statement that means nothing. It is merely an outcome.
This was more open to interpretation even than the first one. I suppose if you were to say, Nintendo, if you were interpreting it through the lens of like defending your art work, your works from the dreadful threat of plagiarism, for instance, and sort of piracy and all that kind of thing. Well, Nintendo is more vigorous in that realm, perhaps, than anybody. They will.
That's true.
If you take the piss too much, they will go after you. They seem to be kind of, relatively, they seem to be the kind of, it would have been the kind of people that subscribed fully to the domino theory in the Cold War, don't they? It's like, well, if this is allowed to happen, it's just going to cascade down and it's all going to be over. We won't have any intellectual property left and forget it, basically. So, that again, you could debate, how much of a positive thing that is for the general medium at times. But clearly, they feel like they have to do it. And I think the Pal World stuff, is really evidence of just someone that, went too close. For them to be comfortable with it, those designs were just a bit too much like rearranged parts, of Pokemon for them to. And then you get to the point where it's like they're getting Capone on tax fraud stuff, because it doesn't really seem like they can actually, get Power World for the thing that they don't like about it. So you're defending patents that you were not probably that watertight when they were granted in the first place.
Right. You're just trying to be annoying.
But I guess I imagine they would have gamed a lot of this stuff out, but maybe they felt like they had to put down some kind of a marker of just like, this is, what I mean? This cannot stand. We must at least attempt to say something about how don't take the piss. Basically, this is way too close.
And there has been, so that Power World went to 1.0 last week, and very obvious revisions to a lot of the monsters in that game that were some of the most egregious. Although there's still apparently a couple that were really egregious that were not changed. But ones that were like, oh, you just palette swapped the design. What the fuck? You can't do that. Were altered because it was like, okay, maybe there wasn't an obvious legal avenue to go after them for these characters, but Nintendo's made it clear that, or the Pokemon Company has made it clear, like Nintendo had the patents that they used, but I would imagine this was a strategy more orchestrated from the Pokemon Company side because that's really more their area of expertise. But here's the thing. This is like when sports owners complain about the leagues. You own the league. Nintendo owns the Pokemon Company, or at least they own a little bit over a third of it.
Yeah.
Because it has 3 owners, but they also have some ownership stakes in one of the other owners. So, congratulations, you're the plurality owner indirectly. You did it. But they made a statement. And I think what would have likely been the issue would be if they ever wanted to use these pals, as they call them, that were too clearly patterned on Pokemon in any kind of money-making venture, that's when the hammer would have fallen on them. And so Nintendo putting out some stakes to go like, hey, we see this bullshit you're doing, was enough for them to go, okay, we need to deal with these before we get to 1.0. So we can try to, mercantilize these characters. Because if you're making a Pokemon knockoff and you can't actually like feature any of the characters in a money-making venture at the outcome, you fucked up. That's the whole purpose of making a Pokemon knockoff.
Yeah.
It's not selling the game, it's the other money-making ventures. And if it's one thing to have a character in a game that, boy, that looks an awful lot like Incineroar. It's another thing to then go try to make toys that looks a lot like Incineroar. That's where things might get extra dicey. And so, rather than open themselves up to that, it seems like they took a tactical withdrawal and said, the game was still in beta, we can redesign these characters, and if anybody asks, we'll just sort of never admit wrongdoing. Never admit wrongdoing. That's how you get double sued. You're never wrong. You're never wrong. Never apologize until there's binding legal settlements. Never, ever. But yeah, I'm going to say...
I would say also just talking about like protect the art sort of thing. We'll see how much they protect the art when they try to turn Minecraft into Roblox.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much to read into that statement or that work. Like I read it more as Roblox offers a lot of tools for creating things, and maybe we have fallen behind on making those kinds of investments. Not necessarily we're trying to do the dark heart of evil that is Roblox.
Yeah.
Because Roblox, for all of the evil that Roblox does, I mean, and it is immense. It is a long list that I cannot sit here and recite. It does have a remarkable amount of tooling for UCC, user-created content, that nothing else really has. Now, Roblox has it because they make money off user-created content. User-generated content was UGC. That was where I was headed. But they do it for evil. For just pure, if you could manifest evil as a video game, it's Roblox. Congratulations. But I can see Microsoft saying, hey, that's something we should get into. Not necessarily to mercantilize the creative works of 8-year-olds. I think Microsoft is too big of a company to go down that road. But to at least avoid the prospect that what Minecraft is for kids who were kids 10 years ago, Roblox is for kids now. To avoid the prospect of that brand becoming losing its cachet to Roblox, which as much as I am remiss to call Microsoft anything good, that if it is a battle between the two, it is evil versus, I guess, good in the relative context here. Congratulations, you did it. I mean,
I don't think we're going to make it through the entire list.
No, let's roll. Let's roll through. I need to know: is Nintendo staying rebellious?
It just reminds me of that Superman movie from last year, where Superman is like, "I'm punk," no,
right,
like he never was, and yeah, Nintendo rebellious. Maybe at some point when they were operating Love Hotels and whatnot, and
I don't know about that, because I would say, I mean, they were the first ones to do the Switch type form factor. I mean, they have done their own thing since day one, right? And everybody else has followed along.
Trends they're rejecting might be considered rebellious.
Yeah, sure. But then there's a deeply conservative ethos to their game designs, and the way that they use their franchises.
And their financial approaches, in terms of not for instance, relevant to this, not going off and acquiring a bunch of other companies with no bloody idea on what to do with them, and then you end up sacking a bunch of people.
Yep.
Stay rebellious. The idea that they're very conservative, so they're not rebellious. My immediate thought was yep, Nintendo the Francoists. That's what you're talking about here. Yes.
That's the thing. It's that particular word is if it was avoid, I don't know, groupthink or something like that. You could attach that to Nintendo, right? Because they've said, this hardware race is not for us. We're gonna, take the path, less travelled and do cheaper hardware that's got unique interface elements like with Wii and DS.
We're not going to go all the way in on mobile stuff, even though that's what our investors are screaming about.
But when you categorise it as rebellious, it just doesn't. It's not them.
Oh yeah, that's just management talk. No, that's just management bullshit. All Are progress over perfection? Are we making progress, or are we going for perfection?
Well, they sure haven't hit perfection. I mean, they're killing this one. I don't know if they're making progress. They're at least doing 50% of this one. I mean, what is progress in this case? What's progress? Is progress?
I mean, I think if there was an era of Nintendo that would grade the highest on one interpretation of this point, it would be GameCube Nintendo, right? Because that was like, I can imagine some version of this sentiment being espoused at Nintendo after the N64 generation. It's like, we took too bloody long making stuff like Ocarina of Time, and basically we need to have a flow of more games more quickly to build up the popularity of the next system, rather than have everybody waiting on the next big game for too long, right? And so this gave us, some games early on that may have been criticised for seeming short, like stuff like Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin. In some cases, seeming unfinished, like Super Mario Sunshine, and other times having things blatantly excised from it to get it out the door, like Wind Waker, right? So it's kind of like, well, they're not perfect, but it's progress towards getting people into the GameCube ecosystem, which of course was actually substantially less successful than the N64s, who didn't work. But still, I can imagine that this philosophy actually was in effect at Nintendo during that time in particular. And I would assume, yes, it probably is something that Microsoft are, kind of talking up now, because they've had some of the teams that they've bought or they've been in control of for a while, right, have been spending many, many, many years on games that took a long time to come out or still haven't come out, right? Like the next Elder Scrolls is still God knows how many years away, or whatever you want to name.
Yeah. All right, so signal over ceremony. What the fuck does this sentence even mean?
I don't know what this means.
John, you and I. This
sounds like something in this is like a Scrum, something from like a Scrum manual or something like that.
Like you and I have certainly experienced more management speak than these two have had to go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Corporate management speak, which is even worse.
Yes.
The only thing I can think of, I think you're right. It's like, it's not about the things you show. It's about the message you're sending. It's not about, do you have the best presentation? It's about what you're saying to your audience.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Nintendo does ceremony just fine. They've created new ceremony. The Nintendo Today app, which we make fun of, and we should, because it's stupid, is ceremony, but it's full of signaling. Like, there is now, they've been doing this alphabet of Metroid where seemingly they're picking the most insipid uses of letters to the point where we're like, M. It's going to be about Metroid, right? No, it's not. Fuck you. It's M. It's some other word, you asshole. But there is content in it. Like, we got a bunch of Fortune's Weave content this week. They invented the Nintendo Direct, but their Directs always feel like they have more to say than their peers, that they get message out there. They do a good job communicating. So I think they are doing a lot of ceremony, but they are making sure that they do it tactically. They could run directs whenever they want. They don't. They've been very pithy with them lately because they understand that getting messaging out there through different formats, through different channeling makes a difference. So I'll take it.
Yeah,
Core before more. Fuck. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure I understand this at all, but like, let's say that Nintendo Direct is ceremony, like showing trailers as ceremony, is like what is being signaled by the president of Nintendo doing thumb wrestling and clearly not enjoying it. Like, is that signaling, like, actually, like, you guys fucking lost your minds when we showed a cow racing on a tape deck? We don't know. Do you like this?
It wasn't the president of Nintendo, to be clear.
Oh, sorry.
I would say that the signal there is that this game is irreverent, goofy, and weird. And by putting somebody in a suit reacting to doing this weird fucking shit, I read that much more of like Koizumi was dry humoring us. Like I didn't read that as he's generally upset that he's having to do this. He probably chose to do it. I took that more as dry humor of him being like, we're doing thumb wrestling, huh? Like he very like they definitely had more than one take. The take they went with was him reacting because that was the image he wanted to put out there. That they have made me do live thumb wrestling with a camera on my face and a camera on my thumb. I thought that was more theater of the absurd. But their messaging there was that we have made this very fucking strange product, and you can experience this very fucking strange product too, and have a very strange time. Which, to me, the trailers, at least the content of the trailers, are the signal. The ceremony being the Nintendo Direct format. And what they've done is they found other ways to get content out there rather than just doing direct on a cadence. So that they preserve the impact of those events, but also still manage to get the messaging out around things that they want. I don't know they're necessarily greatly successful, but they're more successful than their peers. All right, core before more. I don't even know what this. But
I would assume in an Xbox context, my first interpretation of this is it's some sort of acknowledgement that maybe things started to go off the rails sometime before recent issues.
Yes.
Whereas, like, well, you know, they had kind of a good thing going early on with the 360, although again, we've said it many times, dearly bought because the hardware failed and they had to spend a lot of money to keep people happy and fixing it. But they had the install base. They had, in the US especially, they had the third party kind of support. You know, even getting Final Fantasy 13 is getting, adapted to be on the Xbox, to cope with the smaller disc sizes and all that. So, they were showing, real signs of progress. And then we get the emphasis on chasing, what Nintendo was doing by having Kinect and Milo and Kinect Sports and all this kind of stuff. And then that bleeds into Xbox One, where there's all this emphasis about, well, we want it to be what you watch your television on and all this kind of stuff. And, that really derailed the progress that they had been making with the Xbox line, up to that point, and kind of set the stage for the rather sorry position that they find them in today. So I can sort of see it in that context. Obviously, if you're putting it in a Nintendo context, it's very different because, of course, they had great success. That's how we got here, is because Nintendo got very successful going outside of the presumed core video game playing audience, and that is actually what diverted Xbox's attention off the ball in the first place. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, I guess we can't really grade Nintendo very highly on this specific thing, but it's only because they did extraordinarily well by doing the opposite.
Yeah, I might say Nintendo could take a little bit of a knock here because of the other projects that aren't game related. Like, this is I'm going to call this incomplete until the terrible Zelda movie comes out, which every indicator is still that it's going to be terrible. I mean, look, there's some things that Sony Pictures have released, and specifically, was it Avi, the producer, Spider-Verse, good. So you just cling on to that. I don't, every production image they've released looks like a porn parody. If you said to me that, there's a Craven movie that he could also produced, I would say, of course there isn't. That's ridiculous. So I'm just going to hold on to the Spider-Verse example and leave it at that. What if I told you there's a Craven movie that got a Super Bowl ad? Jesus Christ. Did he produce Madam Web as well?
The opportunity cost is flashing in my mind right there, but
I hope he produced Madam Web as well.
It had to be, right? Because it's always just like the licensing, like know, the stuff where they're dealing with licensing, something, a big thing outside, like.
So are we
Marvel
expecting like the Tingle spin-off where Link and Zelda do not show up?
God.
If they get some really weird, like, partial license of Nintendo stuff, presumably,
amazing.
But that's the thing. It's just because it got sort of, it was before Disney owned Marvel, and so things were just licensed off in parts. Obviously, that's what, like, Fox had, like, the X-Men, but they didn't have anything else, so it was kind of like they had why they couldn't really, like, call the Scarlet Witch in the Avengers at first, because that's like more like technically because she's Magneto's daughter and all that stuff. Yeah, it got silly, messy, but they cleaned up that mess by just buying Fox.
Sure did. That their case, more before more, outwork the problem. I don't know. They have a problem to outwork right now. Well, honestly, yes, I would say they're outworking the problem dealing with their component costs. They went way out in front announcing the date they were going to do it. They created this weird Japan-only SKU to get around the fact that they were going to have to charge less in Japan to be successful, but they didn't want it to turn into like a bum rush for exporters. They're solving a problem around like the tariffs and shit they didn't really want to have to do by manufacturing it in places that aren't China. They are doing everything they can to get around economic concerns that are a gravity pulling them and their competitors down as best they can. And so far, they've been pretty successful. Like, if there is a problem in front of them, it's that. And they seem to be making every effort to do everything they can to get through it.
Yeah, people are bitching right now about game key cards, but it is a solution to having a physical presence for games that otherwise would not afford, like it would not be worth it for them to put the full game on a cartridge that's a bigger size. So
prohibitively expensive.
Yeah. So now, okay, what can we do? Well, we're gonna just put the license for the game on the key card, and so you have to download the game, sure, but like to play it, you just need the physical thing that you wanted to buy. So there you go. Like it's interesting, and people have pointed out that it's people have pointed out that it is similar to how the PlayStation 5 works. Like you don't read the game, you don't read the game off the discs. That's for sure. So like it's their solution for it. It's pretty clever.
Yep. Xbox is very similar in that regard. You put the disc in and it starts downloading shit. I would say that is them. Speed is learning. Nintendo is not fast. No. Failure. Huge failure. Dramatic failure. Failure at remarkable capacity. Is Nintendo fast as anything? No. Their quick sequel to Breath of the Wild took 6.5 years.
No, well, I guess that's the problem, isn't it? The GameCube era didn't reward them for haste, so they were never going to draw that lesson from that experience.
Learn nothing. Be slow. Makers over managers. Nintendo has a lot of stability in their employees. I don't know how vertical their organization is. They do feature management that tends to be people who were creatives or still are creatives. So maybe that's what, like, John, that feels weird, right? The number of like senior managers at Nintendo who were themselves creatives.
Well, I think what surprises me more than the number is the fact that they actually seem to be competent managers. Because usually you get a lot of people in game development, especially where they're, and you see this all the time where these are people who, especially coming from startups, where they're startups because they're like game programming geniuses. And then all of a sudden they stick around long enough and they have to eventually move into management and they're terrible because they don't like talking to humans.
Right. And it's just it's a different skill set.
Yeah.
They have, I would guess, rather than saying they have just found these unicorns, I would guess it is they have made an active effort to groom these people to be management.
Yeah.
Over a very long course of time, they had people who were distinguishing themselves in the development space, who were given opportunities to continue to distinguish themselves, who were consistently given opportunities to develop the skills required for management. And the reason they were able to do that is what I talked about at the very beginning. They have remarkable time in position at these companies.
Yeah.
They don't do big layoffs. They don't have a lot of churn in their employee structure. People get jobs at Nintendo and they fucking stay there.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at someone like Iwata was, I mean, when you read about his programming exploits, they're legendary. I mean, he was a legend.
Yeah.
Like, people revered him, other programmers. And he just so happens
to, put in charge of HAL because he had to be.
Yeah. He's one of those guys where, I think the reason why he's so respected and spoken of so highly is I think he probably is the embodiment of the kind of the saying, the best leaders don't want to lead. And I think he probably would have been completely happy just sitting there, just being a game programmer for the rest of his life. But people recognized that he had this skill set where he could lead people and lead teams and lead the company or lead divisions of the company. And, I think he probably got thrust into that role rather than chasing that role.
They headhunted him out of HAL to be a successor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it is a thing you can do when you have stability. If people are leaving every 3 years, you're not going to invest in them this way. Everyone's a mercenary.
Mm-hmm.
If hey, people that we like, we're going to keep forever.
Yeah.
They're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They're going to stick around. They're going to invest themselves. And so we'll invest in them to make them into the people we believe they can be.
Mm-hmm.
That's rare. That's really rare. And in this industry, that's deeply rare.
Yeah. And also, I mean, if you look at, what is Miyamoto doing now? He's not even involved in game development anymore. And they've
not actively.
Yeah, and they've been just fine. I mean, he's off designing, the Nintendo.
Theme parks.
Yeah, he's designing theme parks and stuff like that.
And at this point, it's people that were his proteges who now have proteges running things.
Yeah.
Like his backup on Ocarina of Time took over Zelda, and now the guy who was his protege has taken over the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's Aonuma doing these days?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that to me would be an interesting exercise for somebody to do. You know how they have, like, in the NFL, they have coaching trees? I'd like to see the game designer trees, or who producer trees or something like that. Yeah, like who worked under who.
And there is a sense of, like, the people that rise to positions they're in there make sense in the positions they're in, and seemingly we haven't heard drama coming out of it.
No.
We're not hearing backbite, and some of that's because it's in Japan, obviously. But we don't hear about backbiting, we don't hear about political struggles, we don't hear about crises inside studios. So yeah, I would say that's fair.
Yeah, about the only
clarity is
probably about the closest drama you've heard come out of them is probably around, Metroid Prime 4 and how that had to be rebooted. Like, you hear stuff like that, but guess what? That came from a US company that had that drama, a US studio.
Well, the drama started outside Nintendo altogether with the company they contacted.
With Bandai Namco, you're right. Yep. Yeah.
Nintendo has to shoulder the responsibility there in terms of they decided to pull the trigger on a early announcement, far earlier than they ordinarily would to try and generate buzz, and they end up, it bites them in the arse pretty hard, really, because they spent far too much money on a game they knew would not make it back. Because they feel like they have to follow through on an obligation, which they made that, for themselves, didn't they? With the, you're going off schedule. So that's, you can't blame Retro for that. That's on them. Whether that's, did NOA push for that more than NCL? I have no idea. Possible. But even if they did, NCL still has the ultimate responsibility there.
They could have said no. Yeah. And then the last one, clarity is kindness. This doesn't even fucking make any sense. This is so stupid.
I mean, that's something you would hear out of a therapist. But what it means, in this, it's like
I wonder if this, does this mean we could give Microsoft a poor grade for firing a bunch of people and then say more firings will follow?
Yes,
but we're not making them yet.
Right, clarity is kindness. Exactly right. Like,
so clear and so very kind.
Yeah. So exactly. They're so clear. They're so clear that they can't even tell you if you're going to have a job in 6 months. It's the
sword of Damocles, except the sword will fall.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, we're going to lay some of you. Just to be clear, some of you are going to get laid off. We're just being kind.
Well, like, come on. You mean the people you already laid off? No,
more of you. Actually, another 1,600 of you. We can't tell you who. But to be clear,
Hey, I heard you got a project that's about to finish up. How's that? How many employees you got over there? No, we need at least another 6 months.
Yeah.
Honest.
It's like,
definitely not before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, just to be clear, you just shipped a game, so therefore you have no ongoing projects, so therefore, just to be clear, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you have a game shipping in this fiscal year, that's clarity for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's kindness. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this means in Nintendo context. Nintendo is remarkably opaque sometimes, so maybe that's just an incomplete grade on this one.
Yeah, but I do think they're clear. I think that one thing they're very clear with is kind of their business objectives, right? Like they very clearly have stated over the years that we're doing this and we're not doing that. And there's some gray areas there, and sometimes they've been clearer on certain things, but they're usually. That's like Nintendo generally, they're pretty clear about what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Even though people might be like, you're absolutely crazy for not doing this, that, or the other. They're like, nope.
Yep.
Don't care. Do not care.
Yep. No, that's accurate. And I mean, you could say that they're clear, like they've been very transparent on some things, like the fact that they announced their price hike months and months and months ahead of time. And they were very clear about why they were doing it, why they had to do it. They've been very clear about what's going to happen in response to the EU's rules about battery replaceability. I think some people are kind of surprised that it's not just like, oh, you just put a flap on there and it's easy, right? No. These batteries are buried under heat sinks. They're glued down. So you have to redesign these things. Or in some cases, they just said like, hey, we're not going to ship original switches to the EU anymore. Just because like it's not worth our time and effort to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the fact that the battery on the controller in Europe is now going to be 16% less capacity.
Yeah.
Because they have to make it smaller to fit the new layout. It's like they released actual percentages on the capacity in an email sent to our inbox.
Yeah.
Like that you could not be more clear. I don't know. I wouldn't call it kindness, though. So I don't know. Maybe this is just marketing bullshit.
Yeah, but I do think that I think the reason why people trust Nintendo as a brand is because there's not a lot of that typical corporate double talk. So, like, I just think of something like joystick drift with the controllers, right? That's just like, look, this thing has drift. You send it in, we replace it. No muss, no fuss. Would you get that same thing from Xbox? Probably not. Red Ring of Death.
Probably not.
How much of an ongoing saga was that? Like, oh, well, if you do this, maybe, we're looking into it, kind of thing like that. They would not, they eventually had to do it because I think they were probably threatened by federal prosecutors or something.
The lawsuits, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, started getting sued, but
there was definitely a class action lawsuit or two going on against Nintendo, though.
Yeah, for sure.
There were, yeah, but there's always going to be a class action lawsuit against a big target, like even if it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say that the good example of that is when they said when it came out the Switch 2 controllers weren't going to be Hall effect, but that they had reworked them and that they were going to be reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And people freaked the fuck out. And I said on the show at the time, hey, it's entirely possible they've reworked these things so they're not going to have the high fail rate. Guess what? They don't have a high fail rate. We're out there with the year. At this point, the Switch drift was already a major issue.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yep.
They weren't fucking lying to you.
Yeah.
They said we reworked it, and they did.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'm sure internally they probably saw that failure rate as an embarrassment.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, just like their hardware doesn't fail like that. You know, they
No,
are an
it
Xbox. Xbox, which has the worst controllers ever.
God. Oh, I don't know. The PS5 controllers apparently have drift issues. So
Yeah, they do.
yay.
When I traded in my PS5 on the PS5 Pro, my controller had drift issues. The biggest thing with the PS5 controllers is their battery life is absolutely abysmal. Absolutely
4 hours.
terrible.
Yeah. That went longer than we expected. We kind of thought but I mean, this is the problem. When you're posited with the phrase, does Nintendo stay rebellious? I mean, fuck, what does that even mean? Like, yeah, it's not shocking that we got distracted, but, we were going to do more email. We were going to talk about the Square Enix and their upgrade pass stuff. We will get to that maybe next week. New business wise, we didn't have a ton of stuff, and because we need to be able to edit this one relatively quickly, trying to keep the show short. So, that's going to do it for email this week. As always, emails go to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. If there's an email you want answered by this show, please send it, particularly if you don't want me to answer it because you don't like my takes on Star Fox voice acting. You can send them to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com because I might not be here to answer them for the next couple weeks. Who knows? So, do that. But also, I need you to acquire a copy of Sonic Mania by hook or by crook. I don't care how you do it. Don't care. Don't care. Get it done. Because that is a game that came out in the first year of the Switch's life cycle, and it launched day and date on Switch, which means it qualified for our retroactive of Year 1 Switch games that were Switch games, not games that got ported later from other systems that were released earlier. Mass Effect is my example, even though Mass Effect never came out on Switch, not unlike 999, which was supposed to be another retroactive that is not happening in case you missed the start of the show somehow. Like this is a live broadcast. So we'll be doing that in a few weeks. Go ahead, get it, start playing it. You can refer back to the start of the show. We had GX's email where he talked about, give some advice for experiencing the Sonic Mania gameplay in a way that might be more productive than just gotta go fast, as he referred to it, the original sin. So get on that. You can put your comments in the Discord. There's a thread that got spun up for it. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. I call them show notes. They're not. In the journal article I write pretending it's about the podcast. And you can also email them to us at rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. You know this. We just talked about it. Greg, I need some music.
Well, so I think this week had the release in Japan of Kyoto Xanadu that's featured in some Nintendo partner directs, but for now we don't have a Western date. We've got a commitment that it will be sometime this year, but not a specific date yet. But I thought I'd go back. Certainly the Falcom tradition with soundtracks is very strong. I thought I'd go back to Tokyo Xanadu and take something from a soundtrack there, and indeed, yeah, very, very strong in that case. It makes me look forward to what they'll come up with for Kyoto Xanadu. And so I'm going with a track called Bravely Storm. And I said, great energy for this. Got that kind of, I've said it many times, it's a particular type of sort of like where it's got that kind of build-in momentum, anticipation for a conclusion kind of thing, like, Wily's Castle type stuff in Mega Man.
Cool. All right. Well, on that, it is time for us to go. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Bye-bye.